Okay, EC Street Preacher here. Here at the first night in Raleigh. After I did my preliminary scouting, I found some street preachers. So I'm gonna hook up with them and maybe we can do some tag team preaching. I don't know, I mean, it depends on if they like harsh preaching or not. You know, if they don't mind old school, preacher like me, then we'll see where it goes from there. Okay. Hello.
Hey,
permission for one more?
Permission for one more.
Yeah. Y'all mind a little help?
What you need there?
I'm a street preacher.
You're a street preacher? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, praise God.
Yeah. EC Street Preacher.
I haven't seen you around before there. My name's Peter.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I've been, well, last month I was in California and Oregon, so, but I live here,
Okay.
I was out there preaching. Yeah, I took a little break during Christmas, I was working like 12-hour shifts, so, but, praise God.
What church you go to?
Between churches now. In fact, this morning I had to rebuke my old church. We've got too much world coming in.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. What church is that?
It's called Church on the Rise. But yeah, I had to rebuke them for, letting too much of the world in. You can't. You got to choose sides. Either you gather or you scatter. I'm gonna try to get some of my stuff down here because it's gonna weigh me down a little bit.
Intellectuals. You say the preaching of the Bible, the preaching of Christ is foolishness.
Apologize for the camera angle here. I actually think I might sign off for right now. I'm trying to get all my stuff set up.
That bore the wrath of God that sinners rightly deserve. Why do we reject the message?
Let's do a few bits with these other street preachers out here.
Ahab, who Isaiah gave the prophecy to. We seek counsel from men. We seek counsel from this world, but we ignore the wonderful counselor Jesus Christ. And what is his counsel to this world? His counsel is this, friend. Turn from your sin. Turn from following your wicked lust. Turn from pursuing pleasures of this world. Pick up your cross and follow Christ. See, many people, they take this as a message of hate. Many people come by and they say, sir, this is a message of hate. No, it's a message of love. It's a message of hope. Imagine, friend, imagine your own child about to cross the street, about to cross in front of the city bus. I know it, I see it. But because I don't want to sound hateful, because I don't want to be offensive, I remain quiet. Because I don't want to offend you or to make you look at me like a fool, I remain silent. And all the while, I watch as your child is crossing the street and is killed by the bus. Is that love? No, friends, that's hate. I love myself more than I love you. I love myself more than I love God. I've not loved my neighbor as myself, but I've been selfish. Friends, I stand here not out of anger, not out of hate, but I stand here out of love. And I'm pleading with you to know this, that every one of you, if you have not been reconciled to God through the finished work of Jesus Christ, that you are under the wrath of God. That you will be one of those in Hebrews 9:27, where it says it is appointed unto man, all men, to die once, and then judgment. How will you stand?
I'm going to sign out for now. Anthony is on his way here. He might be here now and doesn't really know where I'm at. So I need to go ahead and try to get in touch with him. But I'll probably get some clips, more clips in later.
If you depend
EC Street Preacher signing off for now. Got a lot of foot traffic out here. You got some brothers handing out tracts. I might just try to get a crowd started. EC Street Preacher out here to preach the gospel tonight, because I know, and God knows, and you know, that Raleigh is full of sin, sin, sin. Already tonight, I've seen women dressed like whores. What in the world? It's not even 30 degrees out here, and you're dressing up like a whore out here? Give me a break. Have you lost your mind? So why do we have that? And of course tonight, drinking, alcohol. Let's hear it for alcohol, huh? Huh? Who likes that alcohol? Who loves alcohol? Well, I got bad news for you. Alcohol is out to kill you. Sure, it'll give you a nice buzz, but give it time. Okay. You start off, you drink a little alcohol, you get a buzz, and you think, oh, this is so great. This is so awesome. And then what happens? You need to drink a little bit more to get that buzz, but that's okay. It's just a little bit more. And before you know it, you got to take a shot of Jack Daniels when you wake up in the morning just to keep from getting the shakes. You're a slave, my friend. You're a slave. That's all we've got today. That's all we've got today. People are wanting to be slaves. They're wanting to be slaves. They want to be slaves to alcohol. They want to be slaves to pornography. They want to be slaves to masturbation. They want to be slaves to all. Yeah, well, go and be a slave. Masturbation causes erectile dysfunction. Save up enough money for Viagra, wicked sinner. Yeah, I got bad news. I got bad news for the masturbators. It causes erectile dysfunction. But maybe you're a woman. Hey, women don't have to worry about that, do they? 40% of women who masturbate say they don't want sex anymore. They just want their vibrator. So that's what you want. That's what you get. How many people out there think it's okay to be gay?
Everyone. Yeah.
Everyone? Okay. Well, you're all wrong. If you say it's okay to be gay, that's hate speech. That's hate speech. Nobody kills more homosexuals than homosexuals. They give each other deadly diseases. The CDC says that a homosexual man lives 20 years less than a heterosexual man. 20 years. That's more than smoking. So if you know someone who's a homosexual, tell them to stop it. You'll save their life. Don't be on this list, sir.
Oh, I'm not.
Okay, good. Good, awesome. If you're on this list, you're in big trouble with God. The word says God is angry with the wicked every day. Every day. Sodomy, homosexual sex is a threat to national security. Just ask Sodom and Gomorrah. If God doesn't judge this nation for making sodomy legal, for allowing gay marriage, then God owes a big apology to Sodom and Gomorrah. Wind's working against me tonight. Well, enjoy the cold right now, because if you're a sinner, it's pretty hot where you're going when you die. It's pretty hot where you're going when you die. You think hell is some kind of party? Let me tell you what hell's like. You can do a little experiment so you can find out what hell is like. Douse yourself with gasoline and light a match. And then imagine 7 times hotter than what you're burning. And that's what's going to happen to you. Now, I'm getting all these snide comments from people walking by. Why doesn't somebody gird up their loins and actually talk to me and try to convince me that I'm wrong, instead of just walking by and saying your little profanity, little curse words? Come on, let's see a real rebuttal. Can you be the first person that rebukes EC street preacher and it fits? Sure, I've been rebuked before. Been rebuked for being too harsh. Been rebuked for not being a woman. That's true. Someone rebuked me for not being a woman. Someone rebuked me for not memorizing the Bible. I wouldn't put that kind of pressure on anybody. It's very simple. If you are a sinner, you're going to hell. That's pretty simple. There's a way to get out of it. You can repent. You can accept the atonement that Jesus Christ made for you on the cross. It's available to you. It's available to you. Jesus Christ walked 2.5 miles from the Garden of Gethsemane to Calvary. He was beaten beyond recognition. He took a crown of thorns on his head and was beaten with a stick to mash it into his head. We're talking about thorns 3 to 4 inches long. And he was whipped with a scourge until the skin on his back hung down like ribbons down to his knees. And then he was crucified. He did that for you. And how do you repay him? You repay him by drinking your alcohol. You repay him by watching your pornography. You repay him by dressing up like a whore. You repay him by masturbating. That's not repayment. You need to live a holy life. You try to give up these things on your own strength, you will fail. You will fail every time. But Jesus is ready to forgive you and to cleanse you. Everybody wants the forgiveness. They don't want the cleansing. But that's what you've got to have. You have got to have forgiveness and cleansing. It's starting to peter out around here. Might just take a little break right here. EC Street Preacher signing off for now. Okay, EC Street, I don't know if you can see me. Let me try to get some light going on here. Yeah, that didn't go very well. The preachers I was with kind of gave me the left foot of fellowship. You may have saw in the clip when I was denouncing sins. They didn't really believe in that. They said, you know, you don't need to be talking about specific sins. And I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, do we just need to keep silent about... I mean, the guy sit there and told me, he said, well, if I smell liquor on somebody's breath, I'm going to call them a drunkard. But then he's talking about, well, you can't be calling out specific sins. And I mentioned masturbation. And that, I think they got a real problem with that. I mean, it is such a prevalent sin. And I mean, it is causing so much destruction. We can't simply not talk about it. That's just the way I feel. And I mean, if you're going to talk to somebody about alcohol, then why not talk to them about masturbation? Okay. You know, it is a scientific fact that when you watch pornography, there's a chemical reaction in your brain that is equivalent to illegal drugs. So if you're addicted to pornography, you're actually addicted to drugs. And this is something you have got to speak about. And then he came out with, do you believe someone can lose their salvation? I said, well, you're talking about once saved, always saved. He said, yeah. I said, no, I don't believe in that. He said, well, no, you can't preach with us. You got to go. You got to go. And what I was getting from God then was, because I could easily debate once saved, always saved. I mean, I know the Bible, but, what I got from God then was just, hey, just go, just leave. So that's what I did. And I mean, I really don't wish any harm about them. I mean, I respect the fact that they're going out there, they're preaching Christ, which I'd rather they say Jesus, because he said, we're here to preach Christ and Christ crucified. Okay. Might want to say Jesus every now and then too. But anyway, I really wish them well. I don't harbor any ill feelings toward them. As long as a guy doesn't tell me to, I'll leave that clip of him preaching. Like I say, if he contacts me and says, well, hey, I wish you wouldn't post that, I'll agree to that. But you can't. I mean, how you gonna preach against sin and preach once saved, always saved? It just not really seeing that. But passing out tracts, and I'd always have respect for anybody that wants to go out there and street preach. So what I'm doing right now is Anthony's supposed to be out here, or on his way out here. So I'm gonna try to hook up with Anthony and maybe preach there, and we'll see what happens from there. It could be a short video, I don't know, but I was there for a while, and I actually did witness to a few people. It's not on camera, I didn't get a clip of it, but there was actually some people from my old church that came out and talked to me a little bit, and I talked to them a little bit about what's happening, and why I did what I did this morning. And I've just rehashed that, so no small stir there. But I'm gonna sign out for now. I'll just try to find Anthony, and this may be the end of the video, I don't know. But I haven't forgotten about the special announcement. So if I can't hook up with Anthony, and I don't really tape anything tonight, when I get home I will make that special announcement. So yes, I'm gonna be mean again and make you watch the whole clip, but it's big, it's huge. Okay, so EC Street Preacher signing out for now. Praise God, EC Street Preacher here. I believe the last clip you saw was when the street preachers kind of gave me the left foot of fellowship, and I was trying to get up with Anthony and maybe do some preaching wherever he was at. He's kind of been out a lot, tonight. I know he had to get up early to get out to the church where I was preaching at this morning, and he's just been out all day, and I think he was tired and just wanted to get home, and that's cool. That's fine with me. But that's why there's no more preaching. So it's the street preach that almost was, but really wasn't. And I really don't harbor a lot of bad feelings to the street. I mean, really, it was just one guy. It was just the one guy, and I think he might have been like the leader or whatever. But I was talking to the other people there, and just letting them know, about the preach this morning, and because they asked me, well, do you go to a church? So I told them about the preach this morning, and things have been going on in the church, and they seem like really cool guys, and I did see some signs, and it looked like maybe they're kind of in the vein of the Ray Comfort, good person test kind of preaching, which, hey, if God leads you to do it, I say do it. I mean, I'm kind of a in-your-face, hardcore rebuker, and but hey, if you can go out there with a good person test and get people to get people saved, do it. Whatever God leads you to do, just do that. So You know, I just don't want people to think that I'm just bad mouthing these street preachers. You know, like I said, I mean they seem like cool guys, and that just that one guy, you know, he had problems with me about preaching about masturbation, and I gotta tell you, you're never going to convince me that we shouldn't preach about that. I mean, if it's a sin that is just so prevalent, we got almost billions of people, you know, doing this sin. You have to speak out against it. They say, "Oh, you know, there were kids around." Okay. You know, if we're not going to tell the kids, then the world's going to tell the kids. You know, their friends are going to tell them. We need to tell them, "Hey, this is a sin. You're not supposed to do it." I mean, I got a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and you know, I taught them what adultery was. You know, when you're married, that's who you're with. You don't go to somebody else. So I taught them what adultery was, because I was teaching them about the 10 Commandments. And, you know, one of the 10 Commandments is do not commit adultery. So I taught them. But, you know, and like, God was just kind of telling me right then, hey, you know, just pack up and go. You know, like I said, I mean, once saved, always saved. I mean, if you believe that, hey, you know, there's plenty of videos on YouTube that will show you that that is a false doctrine. And I mean, I could have easily destroyed that, but, you know, God just told me, hey, just pack up and go. So, like I say, Anthony just decided to go home. He did drive around a little bit, had some people, you know, take pictures with his truck. So that's kind of a good thing. One little side note that he told me is that some of the Muslims that we preached at a while back, you know, at the mosque in Raleigh, actually went up to him tonight and talked to him and wanted to get pictures with the truck. And he said the same thing happened at the state fair. That Muslims from the mosque came up to him and started talking to him, and taking pictures, that sort of thing. So you could see how things are, you know, how things are different. And my former church is being worn up by Muslims. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like Islam. I love Muslims. Islam is false. It's false, and I'm always going to speak against that. But the harsh preaching I was doing outside that mosque, and for them to act the way they did, that makes my former church look really bad after what they did today. And I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. But I have been promising a big announcement, and this really is a big announcement. I have decided to start a fellowship. Now, what that means exactly is I'm going to start 10 o'clock Sunday mornings. If you're just watching this and you're not connected to me on Facebook, I'm going to do both. I'm going to have this on Facebook. I'm going to have this on the GoPro. And I just heard a noise behind me. Okay. Somebody came in. That's all right. They're playing in the corner. It's cool. They get to hear this too. Okay, so so what I'm doing is I'm going to get on Facebook Live, and like I say, it's going to be on the GoPro too. So if you got stuff that you do Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, just go ahead and do it. Good night, Becca. I really should edit that out, but hey, you know, this is real life. She really wanted the toy there, so hey, you know, it's all good. But anyway, yeah, so if you're busy Sunday mornings at 10, this is Eastern Standard Time, then, you know, I'm going to be putting on the GoPro too, so you can always watch the video on the channel. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be preaching, okay? You know, I've been doing teaching videos, and I like those, but this is going to be preaching. It's going to be preaching from the Bible. It is going to be preaching done right. And I know when I just hit that table, that sounded really loud on the camera, so I apologize for that. But I did a personality profile, actually at my former church. I think this was earlier this year or last year or something like that. But it said that when something needs to be done, I'm usually the first person to, go ahead and go after it, and go ahead and take control and get it done. So that's what I'm doing here. Is I want to see biblical preaching against sin, preaching for salvation. So I'm going to do it myself, and we're going to start next Sunday at that's going to be the 7th. Next Sunday, January 7th at 10 o'clock. If you can be on and watch me preach, we're going to get this thing started. I've decided to call it, for right now, Pure Gospel Fellowship. Now, if you go on Facebook, there is a page called Pure Gospel Fellowship. There hasn't been a post in like 3 years, maybe more. But I'm not connected with that. So if you want to see it on Facebook, you need to connect with me, Philip Brown, on Facebook. You'll see my picture. I use the same profile picture on Facebook that I use with the YouTube channel. So if you're on the channel but you're not connected with me on Facebook, just Philip Brown. I just put that in, Philip Brown, like the color, BROWN, and tune in. Hear some pure gospel preaching, and we'll see where it goes from here. I'm just going to do what I feel God's leading me to do, which is to start preaching, and start preaching from the Bible, and preach the right way. So that's my big announcement. So if you can, tune in on Facebook. But like I say, I'll also be putting it on the GoPro. But that's my big announcement, and I wish this video had been longer. I wish I'd really gotten out there and preached more. I mean, that's just the way it happens sometimes. And like I say, I don't really harbor any ill will towards the street preachers that I met. In fact, like I say, most of them were cool. They were nice people. Just the one guy had problems with me talking about masturbation, and he just didn't like the fact that I believed you could lose your salvation. And like I say, plenty of scripture. If I get a comment and someone asks, hey, what's wrong with the once saved, always saved doctrine, I might do a teaching video on that. But there is already so much on the internet about that. But if I get a comment like that, then I'll do a teaching video on it. But once saved, always saved, no. I mean, you might as well tell people, hey, go say a sinner's prayer and go live your life the way you want to. And that is absolutely wrong. That is not the truth. And this sort of argument, well, they were never really saved in the first place. Well, I mean, I'm going off on a tangent here. But anyway, that's the big announcement. Pure Gospel Fellowship. Just find me on Facebook, Philip Brown. Next Sunday, January 7th at 10 o'clock. And, if I got one or if I got 100, I'm going to preach. My first message is going to be overcoming lust. This morning I preached, if you're a masturbator and you want to get rid of it, I can tell you how to do that. So that's what we're preaching on, is how to get free from lust, not just sexual sin, but any kind of lust. So that's a little preview right there. And this is EC Street Preacher, signing out for now.